So here we are at the MG Car Club headquarters in Abingdon, Kimber House, and I'm with the general manager of the club, Adam Sloman. Now Adam, it's a very special year for the MG Car Club this year, isn't it? So can you explain why?
It is, Jeff. It's the club's 90th anniversary this year, so yeah, a lot to celebrate.
So how did the club start out?
Back in 1930, a letter was written to the Light Car magazine suggesting that there ought to be a club for MG cars. And that letter was sort of well received, and at the Roebuck Hotel in Stevenage on October the 12th, 1930, a group of MG enthusiasts came together and formed the MG Car Club.
It was part of the factory, wasn't it, eventually?
So yeah, the club did receive a lot of support from the factory. We're actually based very close to where we are today in the factory admin block, and that continued all the way through until 1969, when, as part of British Leyland's rationalisation, MG weren't able to sort of support the club anymore, and the car club became independent. But we've always maintained a very, very close relationship with the manufacturer.
And what's the significance of Kimber House and its location?
So we are sat in the shadow of the factory admin block, which today is a block of very expensive flats. So that means that every MG built here in Abingdon between 1929 and 1980 drove past our front door. So if you've got one of those cars, this is the closest you can get to a homecoming for your car.
And you can drive the original test routes and things still, can you?
You can, yeah. We have a leaflet that details those original test routes. They were slightly different depending on what car was being tested, but two guys would jump in the car from the factory, one would drive, the other would make notes, and they're very easy to follow, and you can still do those original test routes today. So the club moved into Kimber House in the early 90s. There was a very successful fundraising campaign by the membership, and we moved in the 90s, and then over time the building has changed. We added the John Thornley Suite, which is the building behind us, in 2006, and then a few years ago we added our new archive wing, which is at the end of the building, which gives us a really modern archive facility, because we've got probably the world's largest collection of MG memorabilia, factory items, chassis records for many of those cars, from the early vintage cars up to the 1940s. So there's all sorts of things that you can come and see when we're open in more normal times.
What MGs does the club cater for? Is it just the older ones, or is it all MGs?
If it's got an MG badge on the front, if it's got that octagon, or even some of the very early cars that don't have the octagon, we cater for them. So every single MG from 1924 all the way through to today, to the brand new cars that are being manufactured.
And how do you sort of break that membership up? Do you have centres, registers, that sort of thing?
So when you join the MG Car Club, you effectively get the membership of 3 clubs for the price of 1. So you get membership of the main club, so you get Safety Fast, which is our monthly magazine, you get access to a whole range of member benefits, but you also get membership of your local centre. So we have centres right across the country. We have 11 centres that cover the length and breadth of the UK, which provide local meets, local events, local road runs, that sort of thing. So that's your club on your doorstep. And then we've also got our registers, which are model specific. So if you own more than one MG, perhaps you own an MGB and a brand new ZS to cover both those bases, you would get membership of the MGB register and our SUV register, which is our most recent register.
Okay, so MG has quite a history with motorsport, speed record attempts and all that sort of thing, and trials back in the day. How do you keep your hand in with motorsport these days at the club?
So motorsport and competition is really the backbone of the club. The club was formed around trials, which were obviously tremendously popular in the 1930s, and we're still very, very heavily involved in motorsport to this day. So we run 6 race championships and a couple of series. In a normal year we would have 6 race meetings, and we go to all the biggest and best circuits around the UK. So that's Silverstone, that's Brands Hatch, Donington Park, Alton Park, Snetterton, all those great circuits we go to. But we also have our speed championships, which covers hill climbs and sprints. So if you want to get into motorsport at a really accessible level, you can go and do a hill climb with a road going car. You can drive your car to the hill and get involved in that. So yeah, we do an awful lot of motorsport activity.
This year we're in lockdown, which has obviously put paid to your main event, but tell us a little bit about MG Live and its history.
Yeah, so MG Live is the biggest MG event in the world. It's been running at Silverstone for, would have been the 69th year this year. We get about 10,000 people, 10,500 people come to Silverstone over the weekend, about 3,500 cars. We get visitors from all over the world, obviously a big chunk from the UK, but also visitors from Europe, from Australia, China, Japan, India, the States. It's a all-in MG party, and it's one of my sort of highlights of the year.
Tell us a bit about the sort of global side of the club, because you have branches all over the world, don't you?
So we cover Europe. We have affiliated clubs in the States with the Rocky Mountain Centre. We have MG Car Club Victoria, for example, in Australia. We formed the MG Car Club China, so we helped those guys to create their own MG Car Club, and the MG Car Club India. MG is once again a global mark. SIAC are the parents of MG, are taking MG into something like 35 different markets across the world, which is really exciting. And for us, it allows an opportunity to introduce those people that are buying new MGs in those markets to the classic cars that we know and love.
And you've worked quite closely with SIAC, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a privilege. I've done a lot of work with the parent company. I've been fortunate enough to attend their version of MG Live in China, which was really exciting.
You went to India with some cool guy as well, didn't you?
Yeah, when Jeff, when you were part of the Kimber House team here a few years ago, we went to India to help them launch the brand in India and help them launch the idea of the MG Car Club, and to find myself in the middle of New Delhi surrounded by over a dozen classic MGs was quite surreal, but also...
Yeah, that was a remarkable experience, especially you driving an MG TD through the crowded streets of Delhi, trying to avoid rickshaws and everything on the way.
Yeah, I've never fed a monkey from the driver's seat of an MG T-Type before, but I have now. So
what's next for the MG Car Club?
Well, our hope first and foremost is that we can still do something to celebrate our 90th anniversary. You know, we can't do this with members in the normal manner. We can't open Kimber House to members to come and visit, and we've always been very proud of our open door policy. You know, if you're a member, if you're not a member, if you're just a fan of MG, in a normal year, you know, you can come to Kimber House, you can have a look around, you can dig through the archive. You know, we'll even make you a cup of tea. A lot of events have shifted to 2021. Our MGF register was due to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the F this year. That's now moved back to 2021. 2021 will also see the 20th anniversary of the Z cars, so next year should be a really big year.
I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, mate.
We've teamed up with Lancaster Insurance to give away this awesome Ford Escort XR3i. You can enter at the link on screen or at various classic car shows this year. Get involved, and for completely free you could win this hot hatch icon.